In today's video, we're going to talk about Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man A Brand New Day. So recently, there was a sizzle reel and some information that came out from a Disney consumer products presentation that is pretty interesting. Now, the reason why I haven't covered this stuff and why I'm a little bit up behind on the Marvel Avengers Doomsday kind of Spider-Man stuff is because, unlike other channels, I try to cover Marvel, DC, Monsterverse, and Kaiju, and it's really hard to post and keep up with everything. So a little bit behind, although the article we are going over has only just been published today, and I want to bring it to you guys. I think it is very interesting. So, yo, what is freaking good, YouTube? Warstu here. You actually thought I was going to change the intro. No, you should know me better than that. If you're new around there, what the freaking hell are you doing? Make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture-based content, because I try to cover everything I find interesting, not just Marvel, not just DC, not just Monsters. I try to cover everything, which, yes, does make it 10 times harder. So drop everything down below what you think. The information is interesting. It's also worth saying you can never take anything as truthful unless it does come from Marvel Studios or it's in an official trailer, so on and so forth. So let's drop the iconic line. If you want to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice, check us out on Instagram at Warstu. We have a channel over there where I can post stuff that might not necessarily be able to post here. YouTube has a very strict guidelines when it comes to certain things. Also, I am recently trying to post on TikTok. So if you could follow us on TikTok, Warstu, it'll be in the link below. Someone's got the Warstu handle. I've tried to get it back. And also check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. Right, let's get into it. So it's worth saying that this article's a bit weird, because it says earlier this month, it was reported that Disney showed a brief sizzle reel for Avengers Doomsday and concept art for Spider-Man A Brand New Day at a Disney blockbuster consumer products presentation in Las Vegas. I don't know why it says earlier this month. It was literally a couple of days ago. So obviously this has been shared via Reddit. And as I've said before, lads, Reddit is more reliable than these scoopers. So it goes on to say this. This is what was shown in said sizzle reel. Avengers Doomsday reportedly begins in Wakanda with Shuri, Neymar, and N'Baku all donning new costumes. So let's break that down. This movie is going to cost a lot of money to make. Everyone is getting a new costume because Hasbro, Funko Pop, Lego, they're all coming in hard as a for merchandise sales, and you know it. That is where the real money is. So yes, and we know that Wakandians from Wakanda are in the movie. That lines up with the synopsis that Kevin Feige told us. Now, the next bit is interesting, but it's in a Doomsday movie. It's Doctor Doom movie. The Sentinels we've seen scattered in front of the X-Mansion are said to be under the control of Doctor Doom, with the X-Men joined by Deadpool, Gambit, Shang-Chi, and the Invisible Woman forced to fight them. Now, obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine made a lot of money financially. It was a nostalgia rage bait movie that if you go back and rewatch it, you can appreciate it for what it is. But let's be honest, it wasn't actually that good. But it still did 1.3 billion, but it still got absolutely freaking decimated by Inside Out 2 with not really much marketing. So of course, Kevin Feige, the guys over at Marvel, Bob Iger, they're going to want Deadpool and Wolverine and Gambit and X-23 and all the Wolverine kind of Deadpool characters from that movie in said movie. So none of this actually sounds so far-fetched. But I have a question. Why are the Sentinels being controlled by Doctor Doom outside of the X-Mansion? Now, I don't know the validity of this, like I say, unless it comes from Marvel Studios. We don't know if it's true. But a lot of this does actually line up with set leaks. Well, not really leaks. The set pieces they've been building up for weeks over at just outside Pinewood Studios in England. So it's not hard to believe this could be true. Then it goes on to say, as previously reported, the mutant team's costumes are now comic book accurate rather than the unpopular black leather outfits used in Bryan Singer's movies. Taken into account, it seems Earth 1005 is an argument of what we've seen in Deadpool and Wolverine and the original movies, and likely the reality we visited at the end of the Marvels. Ultimately, it's probably better to not get too bogged down in trying to make sense of the multiverse of it all. For all intents and purposes, It's meant to be the original X-Men universe, yes. When you get too involved with the lore, I guess it could get confusing. And that is a real problem why Marvel's had such a big disconnect. They really have, because Ant-Man 3 grossed $460 million, lost money. Thunderbolts has done 350. Ant-Man was supposed to be one of the biggest movies ever. Thunderbolts has lost money, and it's pretty darn close to that number. It goes on to say, the prospect of Doctor Doom having Sentinels under his control is exciting and has a basis in the comics, where he frequently controlled an army of Doombot, which is very similar to what you could assume. We all know that Doom's going to have to go to God Loki, Atlantis Loki, whatever you want to call Loki. We know that Doom's going to have to go to Loki to absorb his powers. Is he going to have Doombots? We don't know. He's going to have a team with him, and it's interesting. So that is why you could believe a lot of this article. The villain has even combined both types of killer robots whilst battling mutants. So, is a lot of this far-fetched? Not really. But it is interesting, this part here. So the Sentinels are said to be under Doom's control, with the X-Men joined by Deadpool, Gambit, okay, Shang-Chi, Simu Liu. He's freaking everywhere, tries to get everywhere. I'm not just saying, he literally is. He's like Pedro Pascal. Everywhere that's got nothing to do with him. And the Invisible Woman forced to fight them. Interesting. But what I do find interesting is we have the actor for Nightcrawler that came out and said, yeah, I've had a fight with Doctor Doom. Well, if you had a fight with Doctor Doom, lad, where is this in the scissor reel? No way to be seen. So it goes on to say, right, and I actually think this title is horrendously bad. Spider-Man A Brand New Day, Front Tarantula, is now being touted as another villain we see in the movie's next big summer blockbuster. Multiple characters have held the mantle, though the original version was Anton Miguel Rodriguez, a South American freedom fighter who later became his country's version of Captain America as Tarantula. The timing of this is a little bit coincidental, though it may be where Nexus Point got its information from. But Savage Hulk is supposedly going to be propositioned as the main antagonistic in Spider-Man, A Brand New Day's market. Now, one of the reasons why you don't see me covering every single thing to do with all the scoopers' information is not because I'm going to go at them and say their information's fake. I've said I'm going to carry myself differently. Is all of a sudden out of nowhere, the Hulk's in the movie, and except for Nexus Point News saying it, allegedly, there isn't really much base. I mean, don't get me wrong, they've got a really good track record, but out of the blue now, Hulk, who's never really had a scene with Spider-Man, or have never really spoken to each other, it is going to appear in a movie. Now I get it, right? Bruce Banner is a clever guy. He could be a professor at Spider-Man's new kind of school that he's going to go to because we know he's going to college. So the article went on to say, if Spider-Man does market this as Spider-Man versus Hulk, then it's going to be fascinating to see how the story plays out. However, by focusing on Jay Giant, it may be what allows us to see greater number of lesser known street villains, aka Scorpion, Boomerang, Tombstone, Minster, Negative, to step in the spotlight. I mean, that just sounds like they're copying Spider-Man PS4 to me, which absolutely bang. So at the moment, Spider-Man A Brand New Day is said to release July 30th next year, subject to change. Doomsday is now scheduled to come out December the 18th, 2026. Subject to change because we have Sire coming out. They are not going to put Sire and Avengers 5 head to head. Come at me, lad. Then, bro, they're not really going to do that. So this is fascinating, this information. It is good, but is it true? I don't know. I'm not one of these creators who is just going to make out this is 100% true. Make of it what you want. It could be there, might not be there. We don't actually know, but it lines up with everything that we know. But like we said, you can make all these assumptions based off the set that they've been building outside for months. They're finally actually putting blue screen out there, which means they're getting ready to record. But are you still going to see anyone outside? We don't know. And that is when the real things will start bobbing. So like always, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Really does help me. Check us out on Instagram at Warstu. Check us out on the TikTokers, Warstu. And check us out on Twitter, WarstuG. And I will catch you in another video, guys, very soon. Catch ya later.